Hi, Francis. This is Bill from the Northeast region of the Porsche Club of America. Wanting to have you talk a bit about our upcoming event at Calabogie.
Okay,
Welcome.
thanks for having me for the conversation. I look forward to it.
Now, I know that you were there last year and know probably more about it than I do, but humor me and some people who were not there last year and tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and what your role is at Calabogie.
Okay. Well, I'm a mechanical engineer by training, and but I've always been passionate about motorsport from the Gilles Villeneuve days, and always followed Formula One. Then got with some friends and we went and rented the racetrack at Shannonville. And we did this every once in a while. That was before Calabogie was opened, and then moved back to closer to home to Calabogie and enjoyed the racetrack. And at some point, I started working with the BMW Car Club of Ottawa and became a coach with them. And at the same time, started coaching with Calabogie. So, if you will, my some of my upbringing as a driver is through clubs, a little bit, not that dissimilar from PCA. Yeah.
And now, do you have an established role at Calabogie?
Yeah, so I'm one of the lead instructors, and I have a leadership role in looking after the HPDE program, so our driving program for people at large, and instructor development. Yeah.
How many days a year do you get to Calabogie to drive?
Myself, I have. It's probably around 60 to 90 days or events. Sometimes it's an evening, could be an afternoon corporate event or full days. But yes, it's typically it's 2 or 3 times a week and 2 or 3 weekends out of each month. Yeah,
So you're pretty familiar with the track.
I've gone around it once or twice. Yes, I've
How,
seen pictures of it.
how many different cars do you think you have been in or driven around the track?
Um, yeah, a lot, and it would be tough to give a number, but it has to be hundreds, or hundreds. I don't know. And would we be 200? But for sure it'd be 100. And uh, and actually, at some point, it becomes kind of strange where you jump in a car and it's like, well, a car is a car, and there's slight variation, but like in general, the feeling that you get is you'll be driving one car. It has a certain personality or a certain aspect, and then you can make groupings under that style, right? And so over time, what happens is that it feels like you're not driving that many cars because they kind of are very similar. It's like driving the same car a few times, right? You don't really see the difference. So, yeah, if
So
that makes sense.
So I was not there last year, and things there were some special events last year. I was there, as we mentioned when we were warming up here, that I was there in 2011, so that's been quite a few years. Um, but you were there last year, and there were some special events going on. So could you speak about what those were? What do you think went really well? What were the things that people particularly liked, and the things that particularly helped the drivers?
Yes. So it's 2 years running that I'm working with the club when they're at Calabogie. And the things that stand out is the style of the club, right? Like the culture. People are really nice, tight knit. Like they're engaging a lot one another. There's a camaraderie. There's social aspects that are pretty strong, and so that kind of stood out. It's not every club that has this to the level that I've seen with PCA and NER. The other aspect is the focus on safety, which is excellent. And so it made for a very good, very fun event, very suitable to learn. Okay. And that's the other key is like people are keen, they want to learn, they're happy to be there, right? And that aligns very well with my style of either as a driver or as a coach. Um, the things that worked well, well, I did some right seat coaching with people. That went very well. People get something out of it. Like I'll get in. Everybody's it's different, right? And but I make observations and suggest techniques or alternatives or changes to enhance people's experience and that worked very well. Others, what they wanted was a demo ride. They wanted to see me drive and then get a feel right for how things flow. Um, we did some lead and follow, right, for people that don't know the track as well, or they're new to it. Maybe didn't have a chance to spend hours or over video or on a simulator, and so they show up and they need a little guidance. Lead and follow is perfect for that, not just to learn the line, but to quickly get a sense of how much speed can you carry through a corner, right? So it shortens your learning curve in a safe way. Um, we did track walk. Like the track walk was very popular and lots of good questions. People good having good takeaway from it. We had I'll call it ad hoc meetings at the track map, right? So we once in a while we'd have a little huddle and say, well, I've got some observations, right? I see this repeatedly on the track, and then we talk about it, and people have some takeaway there, right? And and we did a lunch and learn also last year that people were interested in was just looking at a tire wear. Okay, so try to read what we see from how tires wear and what it means in terms of your driving and maybe some technique to reduce tire wear. So stuff like that.
For that, well, thank you for saying nice things about our region. That's
Yeah,
good. That's good to hear. Were
yeah.
there were some specialized exercises that would not be done at a normal driver education event, such as there were some passing drills, were there not, where
Yes.
cars would be side by side at the apex, where we would not tolerate that under other circumstances, but under controlled safety driving at lower speed. There were practices like that. Is that right?
That's right. Um, I believe, don't quote me on it, but I think you guys have also done a no break session, and that's always interesting and challenging, but very educational to see how much speed you can scrub using the steering wheel, right? And so yeah, those were very good. The exercise you mentioned, the side by side really gets you a lot of information about driving offline, setting up for a pass, right? And but really kind of yeah, learning about yourself, about your car when things are different than what you're used to.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah,
those of course all were in the goal of safety.
that's right.
To
Yeah,
learn to drive offline, and this is not necessarily learning to drive offline for racing purposes, obviously, but rather this is for learning to be as safe as possible on the track.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Are there, do you have in mind, and the answer may be no, I don't know. Have you heard, and I don't know if you and Adam and Charlie have talked, but are there any plans for different events this year, new exercises or new things that you think you might want to bring?
It hasn't been discussed, but absolutely. I think it's always fun to find uh, new new exercises or a new means of learning about yourself, your car, the track in a different way. I'm definitely interested in talking to the executive about this, and we've also mentioned the possibility of doing maybe a virtual track walk ahead of the event, or even some simulator work if that's suitable. Yeah,
Is Calabogie on the normal simulator platforms?
it is on Assetto Corsa, and it's a laser scan, so it's really good.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Speaking of sort of virtually sort of things, was data used a lot last year or the year before?
So a lot of people have the Garmin Catalyst in the club, and we had discussed about doing something around that. And I think what took precedence was that because after the during the event, it was quite busy on my side while the track was open. During the lunch, we had the lunch and learn. We had the track walk after hours, and then there was also social events, right? And but that is a very good one where is just discussing how we can leverage the Garmin Catalyst. Yeah, yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Okay. Yeah, I'm the people who are familiar with me, I'm sometimes referred to as Father Time, so maybe I'm not the right one to ask about data, although I have used it a bit myself. Um, the let's pivot just a little bit and just talk about the track itself. You know, it's a long track and it's got a lot of different variety. What is so good about the track? What do you think makes the track great, and why do people like it so much?
Okay, well, I'll give you my top 20. So corner one, corner two, corner, no, just kidding. So I think what's special about the track is the mix of features. All right. So there's elevation changes, there's blind corners, there are decreasing radius corners, increasing radius corners, and not that other tracks don't have that. Of course, multiple have them, but it's concentrated 20 corners in 3 mile track, so it's still a big track, but there's a lot of corners. There's a lot of stuff happening, and it is challenging. I think that mix of features, the way I see it, is what it does to your driving is like a practice is to baseball, football, hockey, right? Teams. You go, you do practices, and then you go and do games and compete against others, right? Well, to some extent, you come to Calabogie, you're in a boot camp, you're on a, it's a workout, it's a practice, it's focused work. And when you go back to your home track, then you find time or speed in your driving. And I've seen this repeatedly over the years that I've been coaching. People come to Calabogie and they list the tracks that they've been at, right, and the cars they've driven, and it's really impressive and it's good. But if they're fast flowing tracks, like I'll say Mossport, right, is a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong, but it's a fast flowing track. So at Mossport, you don't necessarily work on, for example, your trail braking. But at Calabogie, this is paradise to develop that skill. Okay, and so that's just one of the example, but it's that mix of all these different features that there's so many things. Whatever your driving needs, you can come and practice it at Calabogie, and it is different from other tracks. They don't all offer that those opportunities.
Right, great. The when people go for the 3 days at Calabogie, of course, they're on the track or at the track most of the time, but they're not there all the time. So some of the time they're at a hotel or they're in the neighborhood. So tell us a little bit about where Calabogie is in the region and what's nice about where
Yeah,
the
for
track
sure.
is situated.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, it's a very nice area, and it's fairly close to. I'll show you if I can share my screen. I'll show you on the map. And I think also it would be. Let me share the screen here. Let me know that you see the screen.
Yes, I do.
Okay. Um, okay. So get this out of the way. All right. So if we look at the area, right, and that's why some of this is uh, so Calabogie is great. I'll show you where it is. And there's other people that may tag along and they're not drivers and maybe they don't want to spend the that much time at the track. They want to go explore the area, right? Okay, so here we are. This is Calabogie, and you are about an hour from Ottawa, the nation's capital. There's a very there's fine dining, like fabulous hotels, lots of stuff to see, do, whether it's shopping or arts or sports. So yeah, you've got on Prior and Renfrew that are 20 minutes away. It gives you a little bit different, like a little notch up in terms of uh, eating and restaurants in the area. There's this whole area, as you can see, is peppered with lakes, right? So if you're an outdoors person, do you want to do fishing, hunting, or the side-by-side four-wheelers? All of these things, all of these things are available. There's fairly close from here. I think it's about an hour away. You can get into caves. So if it's a scorcher out there in July and you want to have like nice, naturally air conditioned area, there's caves right here next to Douglas there, which is a nice Irish community. So there are things like that. If we go a little bit south, so very close is Perth. Where am I going to find Perth here? Okay, so Perth, which is about 45 minutes away. Very nice town for eating, shopping, artsy. So different like stained glass or things like this. And just a little bit more south, you've got like a great country store with like things you're not gonna see in your typical big box store, right? And then if somebody's really motivated in the Kingston, which is about 2 hours away, it's some fabulous outlet malls, and you can really leverage your American dollar and, uh, and have savings and then conversion gains, right? So that's kind of like in 2 minutes, right? It's pretty fast summary of the things, but it is a very nice location. It's somewhat close to a bunch of different things that are whatever your interest, you'll find something around here.
Very nice.
Um,
Thank you.
I also would like to discuss and cover some of the accommodations at the track itself. So I'll put this away here. Okay, so we since you last been here, we've built since 2011. Yeah, we've built this building, these accommodations, and you can see it's set up as nice condos, right, with a kitchenette and everything you need. You can spend and have all a few days there, have all your meals, nice bedrooms, right? And then we also have things that are organized more for groups that want, put their dollars together and then maximize the savings, right? So bunk beds, and cram a few people, and you're gonna have bathrooms, but not a kitchenette in this case. Okay, so we have these two levels of accommodations on site. Now, if you look at our website, you'll see that the pricing has not followed the massive increase that we've had in Ontario, and I'm sure it's the same in your neck of the woods. The pricing is ridiculous, and this is Canadian dollars, right? So it's really well priced, and you're right on track. And another aspect that I wanted to cover is you might have people that say, I'd love to go to Calabogie, but I don't want to put all the miles on my car. I don't have a truck and trailer. Well, you can come to the track with your commuter car, if you will, or carpool with somebody else and rent one of our track cars. So we have these Toyota GR 86s that really have like it's like an imitation of a Porsche in terms of the handling. So they don't have the power. They don't have as great handling, but they have that general feel for the how they feel is Porsche-ish. Um, and really good handling. Our cars are modified with aero packages, engine, intake, exhaust, wheel, suspension, brakes, and then some safety features on the interior. So that might be another option. And also is the Ford Mustang. So that was our original fleet of cars, which we still have, and they're still available and in very good working order. And so the Ford Mustang offers that grunt and the power. These are full race cars, fully gutted, roll cage, race seats, everything, all the safety items, and the same aero brake suspension package that I mentioned for the other cars. So on track or at the track at Calabogie Motorsports Park in general, you have also the Power Sports Garage, which is our the mechanic that or the team, right, that work on maintaining all the cars. All the fleet cars of Calabogie are maintained by Power Sports Garage. If you coordinate with the Jay at Power Sports, he'll be able to either have a set of tires for you, and maybe you can leverage again the exchange rate, or get some work done. So you can plan a little project while you're in the area, or you just if you need anything while you're at the track, they're there. So they're fully prepared to do everything, and I've helped people make the most out of their time at Calabogie by not being down because of and unable to drive because of something silly, right? So very good resource to have. Yeah, I think that's about it for that's what I can think of for on site and around Calabogie.
Thank you. A very nice summary and some of the things that I wouldn't have expected. And my readers will know I didn't want to hear about the damn Mustang, but that's another story for a different time. We didn't have good luck with the Mustang that we drove. And I think that pretty much wraps it up. But just for fun and to satisfy my curiosity a little bit, what car do you own and what car do you drive on the track if you're just left to your own devices and you're not sitting in the right seat or doing a demo drive?
Oh yeah. So I have an BMW E30 race car. So that's a mid 80s BMW car. It's a race car, so it's ready for regional racing. And I barely drove it last year. Just too busy with the coaching aspects. And I do race, and I like you. I like endurance racing, and often I will join a team, right? And I get to drive different race cars that way. So yeah, I really enjoy that. But what stands out for me at Calabogie as there's a couple of best days that I can remember. And so ages ago, I had a 911 C2, 996 car, and I used it in the morning, and I did certain lap times. And in the afternoon, I rented one of the Calabogie Mustangs that you were talking about, and I had about the same lap time, but the experience was totally different. And it taught me a lot about myself as a driver and about what cars can do. And what happened is that my 911 hid all of my driving mistakes. It was able to just like take my harshness in the brake actuation or the brake release and how I was steering and kind of say like, yeah, I generally know what you're trying to say, turn here, right? It's a bit crude, but I get it. Don't worry, I'll take care of it. And when I jumped in the Mustang, it was like, I have no idea what you want. Like, you just pounded that brake pedal. I'm just going to lock the tires, right? Oh, you want to turn? Wow, that's a lot of steering. I'm just going to understeer, right? And it was a great experience because if the lap times would have been different by 30 seconds, it would have given much indication, but the proximity of the lap times, they were within a second. And it was just a little bit of an epiphany for me, right? I like to learn, so that was one of my best experiences that I've had at the track. um, Another one was when I had a BMW M3, an E36, a road car, and I had a friend with the identical car, and we went on track and followed each other, and it was amazing to see where I was marginally faster or where my friend was marginally faster. And again, right, for the same car, when the car ahead of you is pulling away and you're left scratching your head, right? And so it was just a very, very good experience, right? um, if if uh, if money was no object, I think the car that would enjoy having the most is the Cayman. The Cayman, the base one, the S, the GT4. I drove a Club Sport also. They're all fabulous cars. They're obviously very different from the base Cayman to the Club Sport, but they all have that connectivity between the driver and the road. It's a very nice, beautiful, nicely balanced car, very nice platform. So I really enjoyed that. So yeah, that's uh that's it.
Mu- music to my ears. I have a Cayman.
Yes.
So, well, I think that's going to do it for us. I'm going to reach over here and unrecord us, and then good luck. And I'm not sure I'll see you, but I know a lot of people will, and will really enjoy it. Thanks
Very
again
good.
for your time, Francis.
Yeah, you bet, Bill. Thank you. And we'll let's be in touch. So you'll share the today's recording with me.